Welcome to the Hopkins Center. Before we get started, please take a moment to locate the nearest fire exit and turn your cell phones and electronic devices all the way off so they emit neither light nor sound. Photography and the use of recording devices is also prohibited. Please note that masks are encouraged but not required. We invite you to remain in your seats for a post-show conversation with the artists immediately following the performance. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Joshua Price Cole. I'm the managing director here at the Hop, and this is
Karen Henderson, and I'm the programming manager here at the Hop.
And we just wanted to share a few things before we get started tonight. As you may have heard, the Hop is turning 60 this weekend, so happy birthday, Hop. And you know, this building is turning 60, and this building has been so important to the community, to artists, to Dartmouth and beyond, so to the arts field. So we have a little bit of a celebration this weekend. We have the Dartmouth Symphony Orchestra performing a huge concert on Saturday night. We have an Arts District open house that everybody is invited to on Sunday afternoon from noon all afternoon. And Pippin is happening, and Fool for Love in the Bentley. So, and then continuing on, Tuesday night there's a dance showcase in the Moore, and Handel Society is performing here. So we have a lot to do in this building before it closes, which you probably have heard about that too. We're embarking on a huge renovation, but I would say we're not really closing. We're gonna be everywhere. So while the building is closed, we're going to be performing our regular slate of concerts and performances. We're going to be in Rollins Chapel in the Church of Christ, just down the street from Rollins Chapel. We're going to be with the Music and Theater Department in the Sudikoff building across campus. We're going to be in the BVAC and the Low and the Hood Museum and lots of other places on campus and beyond. So check out our website, stay in touch with us, and you'll know what we're doing and where we're doing it. And Karen wants to tell you a little bit about Apple Hill.
Thank you, Joshua. I'm here basically to welcome you to our first concert introducing a year-long residency with Apple Hill. Known for their commitment to diversity, they inject every one of their programs with new voices, views, and backgrounds. They are a strong testament to the Hop's belief that the arts can thrive outside of a major city as they continue to perform, teach, and cultivate an inclusive model for classical music in a rural setting. As the Hop begins this multi-year transformation into a vital hub of creativity and artistic experiences in the Upper Valley, we are very excited to be partnering with Apple Hill. Starting in January, a series of concerts, public talks, and activities will be popping up on campus and in arts organizations across the community to spread chamber music across Upper Valley through performance, discussion, and education. So stay tuned for more details, and please join us as the Hop continues to celebrate the outstanding artistic excellence of Apple Hill Quartet. And now I am honored to present the Apple Hill Quartet with our very, very dear Sally Pinkas. Enjoy.
Thank you.
about her year in India, and she speaks of a really wonderful experience that she had going to classical Indian music concerts, and when the next rag would be announced from the stage by the artist, many members of the audience would just almost subconsciously start humming some of the melodies, fragments of the melodies from the next rag. And she said it was such an inspiring experience to be in the audience and have this magical sound around her, that she was so inspired by it that she created such an effect at the beginning of each of the movements of her quartet Ragamala. So each movement starts in the same way. Rupert will be droning on the cello, and then the three of the rest of us will be playing our own fragment of a rag. And it's quite a wonderful compositional technique, because even if you don't know the rag, when you may, by the second movement you think, I'm getting to know this, and by the third and fourth movement you feel that you've known this little snippets of melodies for your whole life. So it's a really wonderful technique that she uses. And then each movement diverges into very different character. The first movement is a journey of different written out melodies or improvisations that she writes out for us. Many times one of us will be playing an improvisation and one or three of us will be droning underneath or trilling. There's one time where all three of us play our own melody very loudly at the same time. It's quite intense. And then there are also about 3 or 4 times in that first movement, and some of my favorite parts, I have to say, when one of us has an extended melody and she marks us up in a dynamic, so we play it a little bit louder, and the other 3 of us have this little fragment that she actually puts in a box, and we can decide how many times we want to play the fragment in our box, how fast or how slow. So there is a little bit of in the momentness, but we have to make sure that we're softer than the main melody. The first one is timeless. It's quite fantastic. And then the next movements some are spirited, one is very contemplative, but we're very excited to be here performing it for you. The last thing I'll say is that we plan to perform this live in the fall of 2020. We all know what happened then. So we're very, very excited to be finally performing it live for audiences in New Hampshire. We hope you enjoy.
Thank you for joining us on this night, which is not exactly like every night. So I'm doubly grateful for your being here. I was sitting over there and listening to this enchanting piece and thinking how this program really takes you all over the globe between the African beginning and the amazing atmospheric work of Esmail. And now we're moving back in time. And I was looking at the program, wonderful notes by one of our own graduate. Thank you, Grant, for writing these amazing notes. If you might not, yes? Tonight is actually Franck's death day, 132 years ago. So that's I think there's not much to say. The music will speak for itself. gotten to me that I said yes to this. I don't mind answering questions, but as far as asking them, anyway, we did it, you guys. Oh. It's a big piece. So I'm counting on you to help me with questions, but I'll start with a few. But before that, I should say, this is a very special occasion for me to put together what I've been doing in the summer to what I've been doing during the year, because now for more than a decade, I've been working with you guys in the summers, and I just love what we do. And you have been here before with me with this wonderful program of music by Karim Rustom, and Kinan Azmed, the clarinetist, was here, and we also did a piano quintet by Weinberg. I don't know if maybe some of you were here, but it's just a pleasure, it's a joy. So I want to thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me start by a question. Here you were on three different continents, and how do we deal with all this emotional change from one world to another?
Well, the best you can. It was an incredible journey. You're starting in this motion, this migration that happens for 3 movements. Then you go into this dreamy world that is just gorgeous. Reena just did a fantastic job of capturing the culture and everything that happens. And then all of a sudden, you take a break and you have to come out and play the Franck. And Sally, of course, makes it easy because she's such a fabulous pianist, and we're very thankful to have her along, and glad to be here with her. And it's always a pleasure. We've had many concerts together, and it's just great working with pieces like this with you.
One of my favorite things about playing chamber music is making whatever piece you are playing in that moment extremely vivid, and I think this program made it very easy to get into just the different characteristics and bring out, just make everything as vivid as possible. And it was like a journey for ourselves, I think. You're hoping to make have it come across to the audience, but I think every time it's a little bit different. But I personally have loved this program.
One of the interesting things is that it's all about different kinds of emotion and different kinds of organization and different ways of getting into the sound. The second is I was sitting backstage and listening to it, and I was transformed into another place because I'm familiar a little bit with Indian music, and it actually, you're using your instruments in somewhat a different way. I was wondering if Reena Esmail wrote for the piano, what would it sound like? Because unfortunately I cannot do quarter tones, I cannot do all these beautiful slides, but it's interesting to translate what you hear into different kinds of sound. The Franck, I think, is for me, it's a very special piece emotionally. I cannot tell you why, but there is a special flavor to it. Maybe it's the harmony or I think it's one of the most demanding of the piano quintets, and we've had a wonderful opportunity to play it more than once.
The first time we played or performed the whole piece with Sally, afterwards it's like, I've been transported. She's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to drive home. She was like, I'm really in a different place right now. It's quite a moving piece to play all the way through. So.
Yeah, well, do you want to give us a little preview? I'm jumping now. Do you want to give us a little preview of what you'll be doing at Dartmouth for the next season?
We're very excited. I can just say a few things. I know we'll be giving concerts in other sites on campus as the Hop is being renovated. We'll be going to some classes. The Hop has commissioned a piece by a wonderful composer, and she was inspired by some paintings at the Hood Museum. So we'll have an event with that composer speaking about, and playing her piece, of course, and speaking about how she was inspired by the paintings. And I know we'll be going off-site to some schools, and we were at Upper Valley Music Center today, which we had a really wonderful class. So we're very excited.
And just our programs, one of the reasons that we end up playing pieces like Safika and Ragamala. When the quartet is traveling, one of the things that informs our programming is that we try to play a piece from the country or the place that we're going. We find that really helps, that kind of reaching out to the community that we're going to be in really helps. And it's amazing what is out there that I feel like we don't know in this country. And so the other two programs that we'll be doing will also be really diverse. The Raven Chacon, a Native American composer, then with Ravel, which is, Raven is a really interesting character. He's kind of a raging anti-capitalist. All his music is on his website. He says, no money should be exchanged. You should just download this and play this. And it's really another incredible far-out sound world. And then the end of that program will be the Ravel String Quartet, which is just another, like the Franck, transportive, lush sound world. And then that final program will feature two Mexican composers, Revueltas, an amazing, really compact piece that is very in that kind of flavorful mid-20th century mode, and we'll end with the Brahms C minor. Again, one of the things that's amazing about playing string quartets is there's just multiple lifetimes worth of music, and there's multiple lifetimes worth of amazing music, and there's music for everything plus string quartet. So we're incredibly lucky to have the four of us and this music.
I just love this concept of, yes, we're closing. It's a little bittersweet for those of us who live in this building that it's going to be closed for more than 2 years. And I suddenly realized I'm coming out of the music department. I have what's going on in Spalding and the theater and the cafe and people mulling about. And now I'm going to be just in a little building with my wonderful colleagues. But the notion of you taking the music and us taking the music in various places in the community, that is a very appealing thing. We will be investigating and you'll be seeing us in different places performing, both as hop, as music. You will be part of the hop, and I love this concept because I think we're making it into an opportunity. So I think we need to break some of these boundaries. I always felt that this hall is a little big for what we are doing. So we will have another hall that will be a little more intimate, and I think for that I'm very, very grateful, and I very much look forward to it. But don't disappear on us because we will be playing. Now I wonder if anybody has any questions or get into the conversation.
I have one question, a little bit technical, but I can't help asking it. So the Franck, I'm hearing the same theme as the symphony. I know it's not exactly the same, but it's strikingly similar. It's a very unusual theme. It's almost cloying in the way it won't let you have it fully. It's kind of just always under the arm, and even at the beginning and the end, it doesn't fully sing. It's never fully satisfied. You get strangely very satisfied. It's very, very compelling. But it's striking that it's so close to the first symphony, and it must have meant something it must have had a very important emotional meaning.
Oh, I can talk about, by the way, this is the person responsible for our wonderful program notes. But I'm hearing echoes of the violin sonata in it here and there. So I think this is what's so amazing to me about his music. There is a very strong Franck flavor. And this unfinished business, you put your finger right on it. It doesn't end. And there is a story. I mean, I don't know. You wanna?
Yeah. Well, it's hard to tell, how much of these things are apocryphal or real. But supposedly he wrote this to kind of process this incredibly intense, unrequited love experience. So that explains the delayed or never gratification of the theme.
But this business of I think that's what creates a person's language. I mean, you can say this is Franck. I'm also very fond of the variations. Are they called symphonic variations for piano and orchestra? They have the same flavor. It's a je ne sais quoi thing. It's a very Franck thing, and it's kind of yearning and so that I've played this piece when I was too young for it many, many years ago, and I haven't played it. I put it aside. I haven't played it for like 30 years. And I tell you guys, there's some advantage to getting older. All right. Well, I said old. I didn't say old. I said older. Never old. Anybody else? Yes.
Over the course of your residency here at Dartmouth, are you planning any opportunities, interactions with the student body in general, not just music students and not just concert goers?
I think we definitely are, and we're working with the HOP to make sure that will happen. And I know they have a lot of great ideas for us, but definitely part of the. Yeah, we did already. Yep, we met you. But I think I think that is the hope. So yes, definitely, it's a good question.
I'm advocating for a string masterclass.
And we'll be doing a panel discussion with the Tuck Business School as well in April. So I know the HOP has some really wonderful ideas.
Non-hierarchical.
Non-hierarchical leadership. Yeah.
And if you're a player, one of the most amazing things about the summers at Apple Hill is that the people who we order to coach, and you can get somebody who's like a 12-year-old budding violinist and then an 80-year-old person who's taking up the cello for the first time. And the groups are phenomenal. And the music also, you go from the very things we know and love to things we never heard about. We had what was the strange instrumentation we had, like marimba and voice and...
We had a marimba a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yes, and I have to say that is wonderful. 10 years ago, people wanted to play, I want to play Brahms, always Brahms or Dvorak. It's something very classical or romantic. And now, it's a wide mix. People want to play things, just written things from 300 years ago, also romantic. So it's really wonderful that everyone seems the participants are very into exactly how we program. So it's been wonderful. And we get ideas from them. In fact, the Esmail was a suggestion of an Apple Hill alum. Yeah.
Jesse hasn't said anything yet, and I want you to hear his voice. He's the most recent addition to the quartet, and in fact, when you came, I think when we were doing the quintet first, was that one of your first?
Yeah, I think it was definitely, I think my first quote-unquote live concert with you all after the pandemic.
Live.
Sort of. Yeah, I remember we were in Claremont when we played this, and we were mic'd, and everyone was standing outside, sitting outside. It was quite a beautiful day out, a little bit windy, but then I don't think barely anyone could see us. And all that, and so it was sort of a quasi.
But you in fact moved to New Hampshire in the midst of all of this.
Yeah. It was very nice. I moved right as the pandemic was in its heyday in the fall, from Portland, Maine to Keene, and it's been a wonderful whirlwind of wonderfulness ever since. So.
Any more thoughts and ruminations, questions? Then we'll call it a night, and don't look at the news yet. Let the music sink in.
Thank you.
Thank you.